Hi, I'm Marianne,
And I'm Lorna.
and we want to welcome you to the Isn't She Amazing broadcast. So, what we're doing today is talking about building a community. How do you know who your people are? And how do you find those people? Lorna, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I think like I always say that, like who are your people, who's your tribe? They're so important for everything that you do. But there are three things that we want to focus on this afternoon, and those are, with the three C's for community. Like what's important? Consistency,
Yep.
keeping in touch, communication, and so it's keeping in touch and doing it often, or at some type of interval, and compassion. Just really being compassionate with your tribe and understanding what they need and being there for them at those times.
Yeah. So that's great. So we're giving consistent communication and compassion. So consistency, we just did a podcast not too long ago about girls' trips that you have
Yep.
been on and that you helped organize and everything. And you just do that once a year. And you do that with the same three girls. So there's four of you that go on that trip
Yep.
every single year. But you said you don't talk that often.
Nope. We
But
don't. But we know that we're committed. And maybe another C is commitment, is we are committed to doing that once a year.
yeah.
And as soon as we start talking, like where are we gonna go? We need to decide what we're gonna do. And we just like kind of pick someplace and then we just agree. And so, but it is that consistency, and it's important to all of us. So we make sure that we do it. So I think that's, you just have to do when you're building your community, it's what's important and making sure that you're doing something to foster the growth of it.
Okay, so for example, one thing I like to do regularly is find someone to go out to lunch with. It helps me reach out to women that I haven't seen often, or that you could easily lose track of the people. So
Right.
to go out to lunch or to meet somebody for a drink, it doesn't have to be a long time, doesn't have to be expensive, but maybe once a week I like to do that. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but I probably average about once a week to call a friend and go out to lunch. What other things if you want to start the
Well,
community?
I mean, like something I do a lot is I do the same. I like to, go out to at least with one friend or colleague a week to just kind of keep track, whether it's professionally or personally, because you're professional, that's a community also. You have a
Right.
professional community. And so I do that. But then like I just like will text like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Or if I know somebody is going on a job interview, or they're having a hard time with their kids, or their kids are visiting, or anything, I just send a quick text and say how are things going, or we find like a funny meme and you say, oh, that so resonates with me and so, and you send it, and it's always kind of like a funny, and then it's like, oh, remember that, or that's just like so us, like we so do that. Or I have a friend that she sent me a thing and it was like these two older women like dancing, and it was like, and the caption was, this is going to be us in a nursing home. And it was like, I saw it, I was like, that is so us, because that's our community. That's the kind of the community that we've built, is we're kind of silly and we laugh and we kind of let ourselves be, and we're accepting of each other and compassionate with each other.
That's where the compassion comes in.
That's who you are. And then you are kind of goofy and you are a little silly, but that's what makes us us. And that's kind of that community, is what is that us?
So what would you say to somebody who really feels kind of lonely? She wants to build a community. And of course, that's what we're here for too.
Because we want to build an Isn't She Amazing community with all these amazing women out there.
That's right. But then the physical community, maybe somebody wants to meet people and she doesn't know who to meet or who are her people. What would you suggest she try?
I'm going to give the same advice I gave my kids when they moved to a different city, is what do you enjoy doing? Like, do you enjoy doing yoga? Do you enjoy painting? Do you enjoy running? I mean, what is it that you enjoy?
Mhm.
And start to see what's out there. There's so many groups that are out there now that you can do. Do you want to, join a gym? And all of that is uncomfortable.
Yep.
And I think that's what stops somebody who is
Mhm.
kind of lonely. And you're like, and we were talking about this with Susan McCorkindale on our podcast that we did with her, is you wallow and you're like, oh, I don't have any friends. Everyone else is having so much fun. You have social media. So you get on social media and everybody's life looks like it's like awesome. And you're like, my life is terrible. It's so
The
boring.
Instagram life.
I don't do any of that stuff. And look at, there they are again doing something. But there's lots of, it's not always the way it appears on the, we all know that on social media, but it is that step. You just have to, and it goes back to kind of like what we keep talking about. You have to take that leap, or you have to take that first step. Yes, it's uncomfortable.
But
Yes, you
it's,
may go out and you may not like any of them. You might say, these are not my people.
well, and that you're that much further along the journey to find out, okay, that's not them, might be these guys,
Right.
maybe you don't like that gym, maybe you want to go to another gym, or maybe you decide you don't like to exercise, so you'll go or somewhere else.
I just said I don't like people that work out. They are not my people. Whatever that is, but you have to just take the chance. Like, I think that's it. And personally, I just make the time.
Yes.
Is let me get this phone and let me just text someone. I just thought I mean, I do that a lot of times. I'll think, oh, I wonder how she's doing,
Mhm.
or even how he's doing. And I text, I'm like, hey, I was just thinking about you. It just, like, I think brightens people's day is when you say, I was just thinking about you. I just wanted to see how you're doing.
Takes 30 seconds.
It's 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah. So important to go ahead and be the one that takes the action, because like you said, if you sit around and wallow in feel sorry for yourself, or say, well, I'm always the one that calls, or I'm always the one that goes over, or I'm always
So
the one
what?
that,
So
right.
what?
And do you want to go out to lunch? Well, then it's up to you to call somebody and go out to lunch. Or do you want to see a movie? Then it's up to you, if you don't want to go by yourself, to call somebody and say, let's go see a movie. We are responsible for our happiness. I mean, that's one of the messages that we try to get across to the Isn't She Amazing community, is if
Right.
we're unhappy,
Do
it's our,
something.
yeah, it's up to us to get yourself happy. So, sometimes you're new in a community, but you might notice some people that stand out to you
Yep.
that you don't know. But like you said, even if you send somebody a text and say, how are you doing? Even people you don't know, say, there's somebody in the chamber or in the town government or something that you happen to see around a lot, or who you feel like you would have something in common with them, to call them and say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? I'd really like to learn more about you. Or can,
Right.
just get to know you. Most people are flattered by that kind of thing. Yes,
Well,
a
and I
lot of
think
people.
but on the flip side also, like, if someone says no, like, don't take it personally. Like, maybe
Yeah.
they just can't. Or I mean, that's
Yeah.
usually what the case is. Like, if they've got other things going on and they might not be able to. So
Yep.
call the next person. It's like,
Yep.
not, it doesn't have to be, or like, okay, it doesn't work this week. It doesn't need to stop there. Then, like, okay, like, who else could, I have, there's, you obviously will have other people that you would like, or you should, or likely will have other people that you'd like to go to lunch with. So don't let the first no stop you, or that doesn't work out this week.
Yeah.
Something like that, because
And I love what you were doing with your girlfriends. If you see a meme that comes up that reminds you of them, it's anything that you can do to make somebody know you're thinking of them and they're important to you,
right.
is a regular thing you can do. But
Or I get you, like, when it is like when you get and you're like, gosh, they so get me. That is like,
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
love, I mean, I love that, like, you just think that those are my people. If they get me,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
my people.
Yeah. So that's how you can start a community, but you've we've talked about this over and over. You have to keep it up. I mean, it's not something is okay. So I've gone out for a month now. I've gone out with one person every week, and now I just sit here and wait for them to call me.
Because I did it last time, so now it's their turn.
And that's not how it works.
Like, and so that goes to that whole thing, like, who
Mhm.
wins? Like, you
Yeah.
lose. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like a competition
Mhm.
or a who does what. It's like like you said, it's about being happy. And so if
Yes.
being happy requires you to be the one, because some people just don't do that. Like,
Mhm.
you know me, like I talk to anybody, like, and I don't have any problem if someone says I can't make it this week. I don't take it personally. But I wasn't always like that. I was not a person that would reach out to people years ago. I
So
would,
how did you overcome that?
it just, like, I've done everything else. I think it's just, I'm like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, good
They can
question.
say no.
Yeah.
But they don't usually. Most people say yes. So that was like, I thought, well, why am I waiting for people to ask me? Like, I can ask.
Yeah,
It's stopping me
absolutely.
from asking people. Like, they're probably thinking, why doesn't she ever ask me to do anything?
Yeah.
Why am I always one? So I've been on the other side
Mhm.
also. So I know
Yeah.
what that's like. And maybe that's what lets me have more compassion or grace for people,
Mhm.
is knowing that everybody's at a different place. And so that's
Well,
okay.
and that's the neat thing about one of the 3 C's of community is compassion, because a community has to, in order to feel inviting, it has to feel non-judgmental. It
Right.
has to feel, so you're not judging them if they can't make everything, that you want them to do, or they can't do it the way you want them to do. If you just want to be with them, just be with them. But if you're going to be gossiping and cutting up other people, and
Yeah.
it just it makes you not fun to be with, but then people don't feel safe with you. So
Right.
the one thing about the Isn't She Amazing community, we want people to feel safe and welcome, and we care what you think, and
Empowered. What then you want to be empowered.
empowered and inspired to do stuff.
Mhm.
And we do that through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, through regular emails and stuff like that. But the reason we do that is so that you can feel, as our audience and part of the community, that you can feel that you belong here, that it's safe here, that just because you don't hold the same opinion as I do, or Lorna and I might not even have the same opinion, but it's like it's just, you
Right.
feel welcome. We want to hear from you, and we want to be with you. And
Yesterday I was at an event. It was a professional event, but it was like very political. It was the state legislature in Virginia, and it was, that whole discussion came up of, sometimes, your opinions are different. That's okay. And sometimes when you listen to someone's differing opinion, you learn something, and it may be a perspective that you agree with. You may not disagree, but it can also just give you a different different lens to look
look
at
at it.
something.
Yeah.
And so that helps you grow. So you're like, well, I definitely don't agree with that, but I can see their point.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why that's what they believe, or that's what is important to them. It's not right or wrong. We're all unique individuals. And so we just need to recognize that and respect that we're different. And so that's okay.
So
And grow
Lorna,
from it.
have you ever read Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? The one thing that I really remember from that, there's several things, of course, but it's seek first to understand, and then to be understood. So when you ask somebody, um, can you tell me, I never thought of it that way, or that's not the way I'm thinking. So can you tell me why? What makes you think that? Or what makes you want to do that? Or, just be
Right.
curious with other people, and do what Lorna does, who just she incites conversation. And
I just want to tell you, I don't know if I've told you about the gentleman that walks in our neighborhood, that I've been watching him since COVID. And Bernie, my husband, I say I'm going to get him to talk to me, and I've been really good because I have got him to smile.
There you
And
go.
then I was like, I really want to know what his name is. And Bernie's like, will you leave the guy alone? And I've been very proud of myself. I see him and I smile at him and I wave. I still wonder what his name is.
But we don't want charges of stalking on your record.
So
But
I'm just letting, but I think that is another thing is to think is sometimes you have to let things run their course. Like
right.
maybe I'll never know what his name is, but maybe at some point I will.
Mhm.
And that's okay. You don't need to force it. Like it can
Right.
just be like, hi, have a good day. It's warm out today, whatever it is, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be any more than that.
Yeah.
And just be, I mean, like I got a smile out of him one day and I was like, I got a smile. Bernie
But
was like,
that's just
what?
it. Just like,
Whatever, but it brought me joy.
that's awesome. And you know what? Maybe that's all he needed to feel good, was that you actually wanted him to smile. You
Right,
know,
that's
and all our relationships and communities have multi layers. Like some people in the community, you might get together with and talk on the phone every day.
right.
Other members of the community, you might just respond on social media. Other members of the community, you might take a trip with. And
Right.
not everybody likes to do everything, but we're all about providing those opportunities for you to have a conversation, to hear from people, to um, get in on differing opinions. You know, we had done a podcast on cultural views and everything, and so if you look that up, I think it's, do we really respect each other's cultural positions? Watch that. It's kind of, we'd love to hear what you think about that. And we're here to stir up conversation. We're here to be consistent in your life with you know, comments and showing up in different ways on, like this, on a podcast or the blog on the website, or social media
Tell us what
posts.
you need. I mean, you know, tell
What
us what you
topics?
need. Like what type of community do you need? Like what's like, who are your people, or what type of environment is
Mhm.
important for you to grow? I mean, I think as you're like, you know, as older women, and that's one of the, you know, the things that they say that we should be doing is learning is so important.
Right.
And as you age, that is so important. And, you know, it can be exciting, it can be
Mhm.
overwhelming, can be so many things, and you can feel like a failure, or you can feel like I figured it out, this is so amazing.
I'm amazing, right?
My husband's like, well, you're like really amazing about a lot of things lately.
There you go.
Because I'm figuring all this stuff out, and I'm not technical, I don't like any of this technical stuff. And when I figure something out, I'm like, I did it. Like I actually, it wasn't that hard.
That's
But
right.
it's but it's like that with everything. If you're not used to doing it,
Hmm.
it's out of your comfort zone. You want to be
Just the
careful.
first time. That's right. Just the first time you have to look up something on YouTube and figure out how to put something together. And
Right.
so there's so much to learn, and we're here to learn with you. We're here to enjoy being with you, and let us know what kind of community you want to join, and tell us about the communities you belong to and why you belong to them, and how you pull people together that you feel comfortable with.
Right,
We just,
right. Because
you
everybody
know,
has, I mean, it'd be, I mean, I'd love to hear what everybody else is doing. Because like
yeah,
I do what I do, but like what do
yeah,
other people do? That'd be really cool. Because maybe there's
that's
something
right.
else I can incorporate and do with things a little bit different.
Yeah, because when you meet Lorna, she's going to make you talk. And
Tell me
because
what you're passionate about.
that's right. But the truth is, you are a curious person, and when you're curious, it makes you an interesting person as well.
Well, and
You
I think
know,
like when I, you know, when I say like I talk to people, like the boys, you know, we would have kind of like this thing of like, you see, like when you find, you know, when you listen to people and you ask questions and you ask the right question and they get that gleam in your eye and you're like, that's what lights them up. And
That's
that's what
right.
I love. Like it's, I mean, I tell you all the time, I talk to people on the airplane, and
Right.
that's like when I see that light, I'm like, that's it. That's what they're passionate about.
And they know that you care. And there's so many ways to let people know that we care. And so, yeah, so put in the chat box in the comments below things that you like in a community, communities that you belong to, why you belong to them. We want to know what you think. I see you're having a little choking thing, but I wanted to ask you if you have any added
I don't
comments.
have like something in my throat.
All right, then maybe we should just go.
I think we should go. We should go. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we thank you for joining us at our Isn't She Amazing podcast, and we'll see you again real soon.